I think you can allow Hotshot to play Nidalee. There's just certain matchups that you don't want to allow him to have Nidalee against. Like, obviously, you don't want to play like a Vladimir, because then maybe Hotshot goes AD Nidalee. And as we saw at IPL4 with Mono, AD Nidalee absolutely crushes Vladimir. And so right off the bat, actually, Vladimir is banned anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Well, Vladimir, he's been very popular as of late. He's always been strong top. He's always been strong mid. And you know what, with things that do happen to items like Woda, not it's actually it just gives him more options. Sometimes he'll just go for the revolver, doesn't even finish the Woda. We just keep going and building onto other items. Twisted Fate being banned out, and Dr. Mundo also being banned out as well. We've seen a lot of TF in mid, and that ultimate, man, you play TF in mid, he's available for ganks anywhere. Just yellow card. I'm gonna take a little trip to top lane. Done.
I love the sound effects. It's perfect.
I am not a professional by any means, but that's why I had Christina V visit. That's why.
Oh, obviously, and for a number of reasons. But Twisted Fate, obviously one of Big Fat's favorite characters. If you're gonna let him get into a role, then maybe you want him in a more of a standard mid, as opposed to someone like Twisted Fate, where he's just gonna run around picking up kills left and right. Olaf is banned out. Hotshot has been playing a lot of Olaf recently. He's been playing more of that support build Olaf, which Atma's was nerfed, so support build definitely is a pretty strong way to go, starting off with the Philosopher's Stone and Heart of Gold, getting the fast Shirelias into a Randuin, so you're incredibly tanky, you already have the damage output, and you give your team so much utility. Yep.
So Vlad, Dr. Mundo, and Soraka, the 3 bans from CLG, Urgot being banned out by Rosewill, so those are our bans right now. And the first thing, the thing I'm noticing right off the bat is that CLG, their 3 picks, Mundo and Vladimir, they're very sustainy. Vladimir can always sustain with his abilities. Mundo, he has his ultimate, so he can remain on the front lines. And Soraka, you have the armor, you have the heal. So it seems like they just want to take out a lot of frontline champions that possibly give them trouble. They want to see if they can't get some more squishy characters onto Rosewill.
Yeah, that's definitely the case, and that they had the first pick. They didn't expect Rosewill to ban Janna, so picking up Janna obviously works very well with their team, and the big thing is we know, they like mobility, they like split pushing. Mobility is huge with Janna. The movement speed passive is just so OP. Now they can pick someone like Shyvana for St. Vicious, who he's very well known with. They can pick up Nautilus, because Nautilus wasn't picked up, and he's just such a monster right now. But having that movement speed on the jungler is going to be huge, as well as all the other lanes. But we do have the Nidalee pick, so we will have Hotshot Nidalee GG, and we'll have to see how it works out for him.
And I'm also thinking, what kind of mid options do we have? Because Ahri's still
so
open.
Many mid options.
Ahri's still open. Ryze is still open. We got Morgana's still open. Cassiopeia is still open. It's a carnival of choice that we have here. Really, the only AP mids that we banned out, Twisted Fate and Vladimir, and those aren't really the highest tier of AP mids you want to ban out, but there's still good chance. But there's still so many AP mids that you can work around. Vayne being picked up by CLG, so she is a little bit short range and she is a little bit squishy. Nocturne and Lux, interesting.
Yeah, but right now we have CLG-A team #1 fan players. Whatever. They've got Vayne on double if they have Nidalee for Hotshot, and then Chouster's going to have Janna, so it is a pretty aggressive comp. You're right, the Lux and Nocturne is pretty unusual. Now, the Nocturne definitely makes sense as a jungler because Vayne is going to be short range, and their team is for team fights is based around Vayne right now. So Nidalee, primarily going to be for a poke, but we'll see how they kind of work Nidalee in, whether or not it's AP or AD. But Nocturne, if he can shut down Vayne, get some kills early, that could be great for them.
You know what? I think this may be a support Lux. I'm thinking support Lux. Vayne, she doesn't have the greatest range, and the bind from Lux can actually hit 2 characters, so it doesn't even matter if you hit a minion, it'll still keep going, and you still get the bind down on Vayne. So I'm expecting her bot lane. I'm expecting her bot.
We'll have to see. I mean, we have seen some, Lux mid, and it's been a while, but probably a support. And like you said, because of the short range of Vayne, in order to get harass off, Vayne usually needs to clear the minions because she does have short range, and so that does open up an opportunity for that snare. We'll see how they respond. They do have their mid and jungle to pick. I expect that we might see someone like Shyvana or Nautilus, just because Saint has been playing both of those so often, and Nautilus obviously a monster.
Well, if we can get Shyvana, we just have a very a very good, healthy team with a lot of beautiful ladies for CLG. That could be very nice.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, it could be. No, we got Lee
Sin.
Sin. Lee Sin being a PIMP here among the rest of the team of CLG. But yeah, so Lee Sin in the jungle, Nidalee top lane, Ahri in the mid, Janna, Vayne bot lane. Pretty solid, and it's that's a lot of poke. It's a lot of poke.
It's really an unusual team, though. It's kind of like a team built for solo queue. Everyone's just like, hey, we're going to play whatever character we feel like it.
Yeah.
They start off like, oh, I'll play support Janna, and, oh, I like playing Vayne, so I'm going to play Vayne. Oh, I'm going to play Nidalee. Nidalee, that doesn't work with us. All right, well, I'm going to play Ahri. Oh, Ahri's good, but I'm going to play Lee Sin. It's like, okay, so we got lots of single target, it's really just about single target damage and picking people off. So if Ahri can get charms, obviously that's going to be nice. And if Saint can get in on people with Lee Sin, that's going to be great as well. And they do have kind of a nice little snowball potential. Lots of mobility on their team. On the other side, picking up the Anivia. So Anivia versus Ahri, that's a pretty favorable matchup. Anivia can farm pretty successfully there. The concern is how fast they're going to be and whether or not they can get the blue buff for Anivia, obviously. And if they can keep control of the blue buff, they'll be fine. But in fights, I don't know. I'm kind of curious. You're going to need to hit the Flash Frost on some of these champions. Now, Anivia versus Vayne that's a big trouble for CLG because Vayne is obviously short range. You get the wall off. Now all of a sudden Vayne is trapped and just in no man's land. But then against Ahri definitely has the mobility where she can kind of avoid some of your disables. She can avoid the wall. And so there's the threat that Ahri could get some kills against Anivia. Particularly if she can force the egg down and then bring Lee Sin into the mix, they can, quite easily dodge around Anivia's skill shots, pick up kills, and see if they can snowball from there.
But I will say that I do like the combination that we will see in team fights of Anivia and Lux. You'll see the Anivia ult go down. You'll see the wall go down, possibly stuns. Whenever we see the Anivia ult go down, we'll also have Lux possibly throw her slow down to see if we can't catch anyone who's trying to escape from the cold. And it's a lot of CC from two characters on Rosewill that can be done at a distance, allowing Shen and Nocturne and Graves to do everything they need to do.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, they will have some nice little pickup CC. They've got a lot of, skill shot kind of potential. Both teams are going to be looking to, pick off characters. Neither team really has the strongest of team fights, though, with the AoE and the Anivia. Rosewill definitely has a stronger team fight team. Yeah, really a lot of it's going to come down to lanes, though. Yeah,
and even then, when we come down to the lane phase, once people start hitting 6, even though she's in the support role, Lux Laser still hurts, even without too many AP items. And that thing scales really well, too. Like, even if we get, like, a Kage's Lucky Pick or something on her, just something, anything, it'd be pretty good, and just a good wave clearing mechanism as well. So we could, if they get the advantage, Rosewill actually really pushing hard bot lane.
Yeah, but the concern, obviously, with Lux is that, cooldown reduction is a big issue with her. And she's not going to have the blue buff, so she's not going to get the natural cooldown reduction there. Her ultimate is on a short cooldown, but her other abilities are fairly long considering their natural skill shots.
Yeah.
So in team fights, if they don't pick someone off with, like, the snare or, get someone in the slow or whatnot, then very quickly Lux is at a disadvantage, and she's kind of just worthless. She just sits around and does nothing, which is going to be a concern for them. But looking at the lanes, we see Nidalee versus Shen top. That should be a pretty even lane. I'm kind of curious, actually. I guess I should check this. How Hotshot's going to be building. I'm assuming it's going to be AP for poke, but he's actually going AD. So okay. AD, he has the ranged harass versus Shen, and I wouldn't normally say that Nidalee would have enough harass damage to beat out Shen, but she definitely has a significant amount, and Shen probably, I don't know, we'll have to see. I don't know if he'll have enough regen in order to withstand the onslaught that Hotshot's going to be putting out on him.
And also note that Shen, not only does he have his ult, he's also picking up teleport as well. So even if the ult is down or vice versa, he can still be extremely mobile. He can still return to top lane if need be. And even if he does go away from top lane, he's not going to be gone for very long if he really needs to be. So it's not like top lane, if he just goes away for a few moments, is going to be a simple pushover. He can always come back.
Yeah, and actually, the more I'm thinking about it, Nidalee versus Shen should be a pretty good counter. Hotshot should probably have enough damage to take down Shen, and then obviously once Nidalee hits level 6, the burst is just going to be so hard for Shen to deal with. He, has a decent amount of burst on his own, does well against most melees, but Nidalee could probably be pretty fierce there. And you consider the fact that he took the teleport, like you said, but that makes him weaker in lane. So, having the teleport versus the ignite, there's a lot more kill potential on Hotshot's part.
Right.
If he can force Shen out of the lane, then he can push down to that second tower, shut down Shen's farm, and they could maybe get themselves at a disadvantage there. But Shen does pair well with an aggressive jungler, does have the taunt to maybe pick up some kills on ganks.
Yeah, and we'll just hope that if Shen does have to leave lane in the case of an emergency, that wherever he goes, he can make a difference and possibly help. If he loses his own lane, probably just do what he can to try and make sure that the other two lanes do win convincingly. So at least, maybe we can have Rosewill, win 2 out of 3 lanes, which is always a good thing once you start hitting mid game and into late game. But we got this loading on up right now. CLG.NA versus Rosewill Gaming. We are in the round of 16 IPL5 NA qualifiers number 1. So even if you do get knocked out of this one, you still got 3 more tournaments to give you to have a nice little shot at making your way and qualifying for the big show.
Yeah, and right off the bat, we do see there is a clairvoyance on Chouster here. We have the heal on Vayne, so no exhaust in that bottom lane, no exhaust in the team at all, actually. And so Graves and Nocturne could be a concern there. But the big thing is that that's not going for a lot of kill potential. They mostly just want to sit back and farm. They know that they have such a strong late game that they don't really have to worry about it. And then if they can, pick up that farm for the late game, then they can obviously take control with Vayne very easily. One of his, best champions, obviously. But the CV will allow them to keep track of Nocturne, which is going to be huge to not allow him to get an early advantage. And both supports actually picking up a pink ward for that bottom bush. They're both gonna have to hold on to it for a second, and we'll see who's first to drop to get that bush control.
Yeah, see, when you usually see a support grab a pink ward, you see that, okay, we want to be aggressive, we want to shut down the enemy vision, and we want to make sure that we can do things like camp in a bush, or make sure we have the river clear for available ganks. So it's all really gonna be timed on, when do I want to drop the pink ward? Do I want to drop it just so I can get rid of an enemy ward? Do I want to drop it at an appropriate time so I can clear a ward and keep another area warded as well? There's a lot of strategy involved, and if you see, just for example, if we see CLG pushing up really far and pushing Rosewill 2 tower, Rosewill might just want to hold on to it, because they're really not going to gain a whole lot by pink warding their closest bush and removing the ward that may be there, because you already know they're there. You already know they're in the bush. They're not going to be really moving very far. So we'll see how that comes into play. But we see all of Rosewill just staying in a line, waiting in the one bush. It's like elementary school waiting for lunch. They're just sitting there waiting for CLG to come by, but they're not. They're just there. We got the point defense, and we got Hotshot up top lane putting down a boatload of traps, just in anticipation of future ganks, and just go back, get some mana, come back up just in time for the minion wave.
Yeah, so he's got some nice control over his lane, and we saw Lux earlier dropping the ward over by their red. They don't want to have any invasion by CLG. If it happens, then they would have been well aware. But so that helps them protect them early on. But now it's not really going to be as significant, because Lee Sin really is not going to be invading against Nocturne. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but it does keep them safe at early levels, and they definitely don't want to give an early advantage. And we'll have to see. Both junglers starting with blue, so we probably won't see a really early gank from either of them. They're both just going to kind of control the jungle a little bit and then look for opportunities later.
Right, bot lane, we got Lux and Graves versus Vayne and Janna. So Vayne, she is relatively short range. She can get very squishy, but we do have the shield from Janna. If well timed enough from Chouster, we should be protecting from quite a bit of damage. Lux has her own shield as well, but it's not an instant thing. We have to wait for a projectile to actually get over to our AD carry, protects him, we put the shield on him. So we have to do a nice little predictive game with these supports. It's like, all right, are we going into a dangerous situation? Are we going to require a shield? Are you getting hurt? What are we going to happen here?
Yeah, and Lee Sin already picking up the double buff, slightly ahead of Nocturne right now, and his wraiths are up, so I guess he actually just skipped the wraiths to try and get that fast level 3, and he is coming down to this bottom lane. Lux still only level 1, but he will be able to get up into this first bush. He probably won't be able to get into the second one, but John Reinhold, way out of position, does have to use the flash, so Saint not able to hit the Q there. But they will be safe, but the flash is burned in that bot lane.
See, now this is a situation where I was talking about the pink wards. Now we know we're going to be pushed. Do we want to put the ward down there just to make sure that we have a little bit of an eye on CLG. It does not look we're going to be using it. So we're just going to see if we can't try and take the lane back. And you also see Chowster now getting a ward in the river, just so we can be protected from future ganks. So if Livingston wants to come around and gank his Nocturne, he's got to go the long way from behind through the tri-bush.
Yeah, and like you said with that pink ward, right off the bat, Lux throwing it down in that bottom bush, so Chowster would have seen that. He knows he can drop his own when he desires, or he can hold on to it if he likes, but he will have some nice control there. The zone from Reinhold doing a nice job on double lift to kind of throw him out of position there. And so far, Hotshot's doing some nice job harassing Shen, but really not an issue. Shen can just sit, wait for the creeps to come back to his tower, and he will be able to farm safely under there.
Okay, double lift continuing to continue with a little bit of the aggression. So we have pretty much skills purchased across the board now. We do have the true damage available to us if we so desire. The silver bolts. On the third hit, we do get some true damage bonus stacked onto whoever we hit in succession. And we also see that mid, Big Fat is actually pushing down Anivia pretty rough. It's a 23-25. Farm is still even, but we see Anivia forced to be farming at that tower.
Yeah, and so far, Double Lift and Chowster, they have good control over this lane. Nocturne coming down, giving a little peek there, so they did see him. Yeah. They are going to be safe in this lane. They already have the ward over in the river. Judge Reinhold trying to get control of this bush, but he's definitely out of position. There's actually the stun from Chowster, the whirlwind, and the quick first blood. Double Lift exhausted there, but they are going to be fine.
Trying to be a little bit too aggressive, but that's the thing. Playing against the Vayne, you have to be very conscious of your positioning, very much like you're playing against the Blitzcrank. Vayne or Alistar or Vayne plus Alistar, you cannot be pinned up against the wall. You will be stunned. You will get wrecked. That's what happens. First blood.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, Chowster actually dropping the ward while that fight's going on so that they know they still have the vision over Lux, that they can kill her underneath that bush there. But, yeah, that's going to be really tough to come back from. They have a lot of control. We have kind of a kill lane with Graves and Lux, and just the fact that the harass is so much stronger from Vayne and Janna. If you give them an early advantage, then very quickly they could roll with it.
Yeah, Vayne is not an AD carry you want to be giving really any free gold to. Vayne, she's going to go back to town. She's going to start stacking Dorans, extra health, extra lifesteal. We got 2 of them and a Vamp Scepter, so that's going to be built into a Bloodthirster later on. So just a nice little precursor of things to come. It also looks like Lee Sin, he's starting up onto his Madrids. He should be getting a Wriggles in the near future. And Nivea looking to build towards a Catalyst, which you should see into a Rod of Ages later on. And Nocturne living. Whoa, we actually got Ari getting a little bit too far out there. Tried to place a ward in the river. Livingston is here. He gets the fear off, but just decides let's just let Ari go. Let's just let her go.
Yeah, it's just some unfortunate timing. They could maybe get a ward up by the race. Nocturne coming down to try and steal this race. They aren't up at the time. So, you know, CLG is just very comfortable with sitting back and farming and controlling the lanes. Now, I'm kind of curious. Again, you know, we're very close to that 7:15 mark when those blues are going to respawn, and whether or not we'll see Ari and Lee Sin with any aggression towards that blue. And right now, Anivia is fine. She's keeping herself high health and mana. She knows if I get low, then that's going to result in a lost blue for me. So I can't allow that to happen against Ari. If she can force me out of lane, then very quickly we're going to fall behind.
And Shen is just... Ispar is just trying to recall or just baiting out a few free shots. He's like, I'm just going to recall in front of you. Go ahead, hit me. And Hotshot is more than gladly to oblige. So I think it's just kind of like a little bit of a toying match here. We did have a CV go down over on to Rosewill's blue. They know it's there. They know it hasn't been taken yet, and they know that we may actually see an attempt on it soon. We did have a ward in the river from Big Fat earlier, but I'm not sure if it's going to be. We're going to have a vision around the corner. I'm pretty sure we're not going to have a vision around the corner to see when TMS is going around to it. But you know, his absence in lane should be more than enough to tell that tale.
And the big thing is all the lanes kind of want to just sit defensively right now, because if bot lane or mid lane loses any sort of quick advantage, then very quickly that could result in a lost blue for Anivia. But she is going to be fine. In the meantime, Big Fat just going to be pushing up to this tower. He knows, all right, Anivia is going to blue. Let me deny some of this experience and get a quick level advantage there.
And we had vision on TMS actually going on over to the blue, and the blue's actually resetting now. How unfortunate. So now we need to just start all over again, and that's actually giving more time. If CLG were to engage on this and try and steal or get a kill off this, they would have given him more time. But Ari is actually instead taking the initiative. We're going up towards the red, placing a ward And you know what? Aspara is actually way too far pushed out. Do we have the ult up? We do have the ult up on Big Fat, so this could be a very bad situation. We got the Foxfire, we had the Orb, and Shen's actually going to be able to get away from that one.
Yeah, nice time taunt to be able to prevent the charm from Ahri from going off and then real quick get past there. I think, I thought that he might still be in range by the time the taunt was over, so I was a little bit surprised there. But they're able to get that advantage. And now Lee Sin and Janna here are going to be taking this dragon. So, even though CLG doesn't really usually like pursuing it, it really comes down to the situation. Right now is a good situation for them. They have plenty of control with the mid-reds, and then, of course, Janna can give the shield, so they don't have to worry about it. Livingston up here going for his red is not going to be able to defend this at all, so the free dragon for some free gold.
We got the shield on Janna and the shield on Lee Sin. Those two combined have enough damage reduction for Lee Sin to actually be able to grab that early dragon. Plus he has a Madrids for the extra damage we need. If we did not have any similar set, like most other junglers without protection or sustain like that would not be able to do a dragon that low with only help from your support. So we have Lee Sin, he is available to us. We have Janna, extra, some damage reduction with the shield and some bonus AD. We're able to take it out no problem.
And it's really interesting, like you said earlier, Lux, because Vayne is such short range, she has to run pretty far forward. Lux can, instead of zoning her with the slow, he can throw the slow behind Vayne, and then all of a sudden Vayne has this long kind of arduous path to get around in order to get to safety, and it opens up opportunities for free harass.
And also, I don't believe the tumble can actually go through the entire width of the slow.
Yeah, no, it's so short.
So the tumble can only go so far. So Judge Reinhold we're definitely trying to get our money's worth for the slow when we do put it out there, or at the very least force the tumble away, lose a little bit of mana in the process, and just keep our harass up.
But we do have Nocturne coming down into this bottom lane. He is going to be able to get into that first push there. He is level 6, but Janna is going to be a concern, so they're actually backing off for a sec. Oh, the snare almost hitting.
Does not get what we need. If that hit, we would have seen Livingston go in there. It would have been risky. They would have been ridiculously close to tower, but you know what? I think it's definitely worth a shot. But here he is. We actually see him coming back around again, throwing out the Q, getting some harass down, but we do have the shield coming in onto Vayne, so double lift is going to be pretty well protected. And you also see TMS getting some harass down on Ahri in mid, but looks like Livingston may actually refocus attention here on mid, but looks like Big Fat is just going to stick back just for a little bit. Knows Nocturne's in the area. We saw Nocturne leave bot, but looks like he's just going to go ahead and farm back up on his wolves, and we see Hotshot and St. Vicious pushing top lane relentlessly. Ispara has really no recourse here because since they're pushing beyond the tower. If he wants to engage us, it's a 2v1 with no tower protection. Wow, that thing got low, man.
Yeah, no, they've just been pushing it really aggressively, zoning the creeps so that they don't have that potential for defense. And it's interesting, that AD Nidalee versus the Shen. Shen going with a lot of cloth armors, has a lot of resistance and then health, but even so, he can't stand up to her. So she's able to just constantly push down here. But we do see Nocturne coming in this mid lane. It's going to be a really hard gank. Nah. Not really a lot of potential there with Ahri versus Anivia. I
just noticed now, dude. Look at the creeps. Whoa, we actually got the orb and the charm going on TMS. We actually have the egg forced. Livingston is still here, though, to try and dissuade Big Fat. We got the fear going down, but it actually breaks just too far away. It looks like TMS is just kind of sitting there. I think he kind of accepted his fate there.
I hope he hasn't DC'd.
I really hope he don't have the DC on our hands.
Yeah.
Oh, we did. We will get away fine.
But at least he's off the creeps now.
Yeah, at least he's off the creeps. And even then, even if he didn't get DC'd, Livingston was still here to protect from any harass that Big Fat would have had. So we still had a little bit of insurance there, but we got the bind going here down on double lift. Judge Reinhold's trying to get away, but right under towers, nothing doing. We got the Janna ult to try and heal a little bit of Vayne, but Ricari is actually there with the few auto attacks he needed to get off that kill. So we exchanged an AD for support. It's a little bit of an advantage for Rosewill, but still, man, look at top lane, dude.
Yeah, it's just such an aggressive lane with that Nidalee push. They do have a ward down by this red here. They probably need another one for a little bit more map control, but Nidalee is so mobile.
40
it'll be tough for that kill.
40 creep kills ahead. That's pretty nuts right now.
Yeah, Hotshot just really controlling that lane with his farm currently.
So TMS he's back in mid, but we also see that St. Vicious is now swarming once again to continue the harass on Ispara top. And we have one level up for Hotshot over Ispara. He can't really defend this push that well. And we can get the taunts off, we can get the turret to do a little bit of harass, but all this time they're just getting free hits on this thing. And now we see Nocturne, we see Anivia coming up here. We got the Nocturnal coming in here down on St. Vicious. We have the Fear. He was kicked during the duration, so he wasn't all too effective, but St. Vicious is running the wrong way, and he gets slapped right into an ice cream sandwich there, courtesy of TMS on Anivia.
Yeah, and so they're trying to just really aggressively push that top lane, draw the attention away. One thing that it does do is it opens up an opportunity for this blue steal. And so Big Fat coming down here, he needs Chouster and Double Lift to come help him before Nivea gets down, but now it's too late. And so we actually see all of the team coming down, and they are grouped. We actually have Big Fat jumping onto Judge Reinhold. He's going to get some nice burst damage really quickly. The flash gets him out of there, and then actually the Ignite should be able to pick it up, but the Shen ult, and so Big Fat is going to go down. They don't pick up Anivia as well. Double Lift going down, so there's 2 kills for 1, and now actually Aspar is going to be teleporting back up to this top lane to prevent that push, but the damage is done, and Anivia is going to be able to pick up this blue.
I was there. I was a little bit scared there for a team. It's got so incredibly low. I was like, but we're still going to go back in there to grab that blue because it's so sorely needed. I just hope the Golem just doesn't decide to attack.
Oh, God!
I spoke too soon.
Yeah, that was a concern.
It was a legitimate concern, yeah.
The big thing is they, Livingston didn't want to take it, so it's pretty common to switch off aggro, but he needed to kind of just run around and tank it for a little bit, and with that low mana, TMS couldn't burst it down. We do have the red buff on Hotshot, but I don't think he has enough damage. Aspara jumping in on him, there's the Ignite onto him, but if he can chase him down, he actually won't be able to pick it up, but now Rekieri is right out of position. We have the slow, and then the kickback on St. Vicious, going to be able to chase him down with that red buff, and then actually the flash into the ult, but now Chouster is stuck underneath the tower, taking some quick damage, does go down, and can they turn onto St. Vicious? They will back off, so unfortunately, that kill doesn't really work out for them.
They got their kill. It may have been under tower, but you know what? W's a W, and it's something that Rosewill definitely needs right now because they are still a little bit behind in gold. Top lane is not doing so hot, so whatever the other 2 lanes can do to try and recoup the loss in gold, the loss in pressure, it's all worth something huge at this moment. If we can secure our own blues, Dragon is back up, so we may see some pressure around that in the very near future, unless St. Vicious decides to go in for it once more. But any small advantage that Rosewill can get now at this point in the game would just pay off so well for them.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have a pretty strong teamfight team. Nidalee, that's one of her weaknesses, obviously, has always been how much teamfight control you can have. And so AP Nidalee is a little bit better for that because you can have that poke down, but you're still weak during fights. You're just good for the poke. AD Nidalee is kind of unusual from that respect. You don't really want to have these full-blown fights. You want to kind of just draw the enemy out over position, have that split pushing going, so you can take advantage of small, like 1v1 situations. But in the meantime, Rosewill doing a good job positioning themselves for this dragon. They definitely don't want to allow CLG to sneak another one there. But it's difficult because Hotshot just continuing the pressure up on top lane, and he has the red buff. He can get off that harass on Shen, and if Shen ever decides to leave, that's a tier 2 tower down. Yeah,
well, this is the game plan we see a lot from CLG. Just Hotshot, top lane, just. You don't need to be with the rest of your team, just as long as you can go ahead, continue to push and take down towers, it's fine. Double lift being focused down beneath tower, but we got Livingston coming down in, and the Lux Laser will actually be able to pick that one up from afar. We see Nocturne taking the tower as the rest of Rosewill walks away. That was a good pickup under tower, but we do see Big Fat getting the engage in here on TMS. The ult from Shen. We may be here just in time to protect. Yes, we will. We did have the Ignite go down on TMS, and just once again, barely. And I can expect right now TMS to die to a neutral creep any second.
Yeah, but the egg is up now, so it won't be as much of an issue. Ori looking for the burst, had enough, but the Shen ult able to stop him, and now we have a free dragon. We actually have Saint coming in here. He is going to contest it, with Janna. And Ori as well, they are able to hold on to it, but in the meantime, they are going down quickly. Hotshot going to be able to pick up this kill, maybe. There's actually the Saint kick into the queue onto Graves, so they're able to pick that up, and then the rest of the team has to retreat, but the dragon, was taken by Rosewill, so they have that advantage. But even so, they did lose a number of kills. So 2-0, and now CLG is going to get a huge push off of this. They're going to be able to take this mid turret. We'll see if Big Fat can pick up a kill behind the turret.
Well, I mean, Dragon is worth roughly about the equivalent goal of 2 kills, but because there's so many men down, they're also going to lose the turret. So in the end, based off that engagement, it is going to be a net loss for Rosewill, unfortunately. And we actually see CLG. We got we may actually, or I think we're just going to see some wards on Baron. I think it's still a little bit too early for them to even consider starting that. Even though we do have the Wriggles and we do have a whole bunch of shield options for CLG, they're just going to go ahead and be more than content with securing their own buffs and their own creeps.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys have seen that video from the Corsair Vengeance Cup, but the backdoor Baron where, you just kind of jump over the wall for Baron, CLG dropping a ward in here. We do have Shen, Nocturne, actually Nocturne doesn't have it, but Shen, Graves, and no, I guess there's not really a lot of potential.
Nocturne can ult in. But there's definitely the options for that once we start getting around to that point in the game. And we see the Lux slow just sticking behind Doublelift, making sure that, you're not going to be, if you're going to leave, you're not going to be doing it all too easy. So Rosewill is now just starting to try and find their spot. Hotshot, once again, trying to push down top lane once again. And CLG is now, once we start getting to those huge team fights, well, we actually got Doublelift here. We popped the ult. We got the Nocturne ult coming in. Livingston trying to focus down Vayne. We got the Fear going down, but we do have the Lux stun here. Chouster is rooted for just a moment. They are not able to capitalize on it, but they did manage to make Chouster burn the ultimate, so that will be good for them for the next few moments in case we have another huge team fight come in.
Yeah, and really nice control by Doublelift there, constantly kiting in that fight. Even though they were getting on him and having those disables, they weren't ever able to burst him down, so he was able to keep himself alive. The blue should be pretty easy for Anivia here. Ari's sitting over there, but we do have Lee Sin picking up that red.
Big Fat might come in to try and steal his ult is up, but nope, just too much damage there. 3 members of Rosewill will be able to secure that. I thought we were going to see like an ult in, steal it, ult out, but I think that might have been just a little bit much just to steal a blue, but
perhaps.
Perhaps. But, for Anivia, really relying on blue. That extra manager gen does so much for her. And St. Vicious can't quite push top just the same way that Hotshot can. Nidalee, you get that range harass. We've been seeing it all game, and we're going to continue to see it.
So now the key for Rosewill, obviously if they can force fights, then the game is to their advantage. And as the game progresses, we have a lot more potential for them to force fights, either by pushing towers or by forcing the Baron. Right now, CLG is trying to get that split push going. They do want to keep Vayne and Janna down in this bottom lane, but push a little bit more aggressively. So we see nice ward coverage through the blue. They will, keep it pushed up to the second tower. The concern for them is, though, we have Nocturne, with the long-range initiation, and then we have Shen with both his ult and teleport, which gives them a great opportunity for picking up 4v2 kills while CLG is split push. So having those global, teleport presences against the split push works very effectively. It'll be interesting to see how CLG responds. I also really enjoy that Shen decided to rush the Randuin's Omen, because you think about it this way. We got Nidalee, we got Vayne, we got Lee Sin. 3 AD champs. You're going to get right in the middle of those team fights with your taunt. You pop the active on Randuin's, and you're good to go. Everyone's slow. The attack speed's a little bit less, and that's going to be a prime opportunity for Rosewill to try and focus down one of the main damage dealers from CLG. And if they can manage to burst one of them down, that'll do so much for them, especially if Hotshot's away from the fight, just pushing up top lane like he usually does. Yeah, and right now we actually see all 5 members of Rosewill coming up in this top lane because CLG was kind of forcing them to, and that's what the split push does. You kind of pressure a lane. Now all of a sudden they're thinking a fight's going to happen. They're all grouped up here ready to go. That gives Vayne an opportunity to continue farming down in that bottom lane and split pushing. We have Livingston coming in behind Anivia, though, and he's kind of all out on his own while Hotshot is kind of sitting in this mid. So they have kind of successfully gotten out of there. The concern is whether or not Big Fat is going to have to use his ultimate, but he does have a nice bit of burst, and with Janna there to back him up, he should be fine. But Judge Reinhold is getting caught out a little bit too far. We got the spears. Can we get another spear? No, we will not be able to. But as far as here, now trying to get aggressive on Big Fat. Livingston is still pretty close. We do have a shield from Shen trying to protect him from further harass, but Janna is there. If we go into a full-out team fight up top, Rosewill may have the edge since it is only a support, but we also see Ari now trying to get the dive in onto Shen. Ari is exhausted, but we do have Chouster with the ult trying to push Rosewill away, and now Doublelift is in pursuit. Egg on Anivia. TMS, can we get revived? Can we get what we need? No, just barely not, but the Lux laser just barely shaving Doublelift. Should it be able to get away from this one? Yeah, and so they're able to pick up the kill onto Anivia, but unfortunately the quick burst from Graves and Lux is able to take down Hotshot. Otherwise, they might have been able to turn that around. So they did get 2 towers, though. So 3 towers, actually. And that's the thing. That split push, even though it was a successful fight actually, it wasn't successful. It was a 1-for-1 exchange. Anivia for Nidalee. So, an even fight for Rosewill because they had such a large presence in that bottom lane, but it resulted in 3 towers going down. And now all the tier 2 towers are out, and if they want to continue to split push, they can, or they can kind of start pressuring all the lanes, and by pressuring, pull Rosewill out of position so that they can maybe pick up some kills, or even force a Baron while maybe one of them split pushes another lane.
Yep. I'm also looking at the item builds here on both of these teams. I'm specifically looking at Vayne because we have the Bloodthirster, 2 Dorns, and a Phantom Dancer. Graves, we have the Infinity Edge, and what looks to me possibly the beginning of a Zeke's Herald.
Probably not. It's probably going to be just a Zeal.
It could be a Zeal. Yeah, it could be a Zeal too. What am I thinking? Zeke's Herald.
Zeke's Herald's a nice item.
It is a nice item.
I wouldn't normally expect Graves to get
it.
It's just such a big investment for an aura item. And so we actually see, Nidalee pressuring down this mid lane while his team is going after this Baron, and they are going to be chasing after him for a second, but Lux threw off the E over the wall. They know they need to get out of there, and actually, even though the Baron was pretty low, they aren't able to finish it because they don't want to engage a fight, so CLG just going to kind of stall off for a little bit. Baron hasn't regen, though. Oh, no, there it goes. It did just regen. So they will have to redo it completely, almost being able to sneak it in there, but being very safe, don't want to, give an opportunity for an engage.
Yeah, but this also gives an opportunity for CLG. We see that Big Fat is just going to go on up top lane, clear out that wave. We're going to see Hotshot go bot, clear out that wave, and Double F and Saintfishes should be able to take out Dragon by themselves convincingly before Rosewill can ever get there. We could see an engage. Livingston, if you really wanted to, could just ult, get the vision we needed to on one of the members of CLG and continue the fight, but they're a little bit too far away, and they realize, listen, we have another split push situation. We got to go defend these things, or else we could lose another set of 3 towers in one push.
And this is why, Janna's passive obviously is just so strong.
Oh, yeah.
They have the mobility where they can easily escape from fights without a hard initiation from Rosewill. And so at some point in time, they need to just go for it, send Nocturne in, get them to stall them for the rest of the team to get there. But the issue is that we have the push top, and actually Shen getting pretty low, but the team is responding. We actually had the Flash Frost dodged by Big Fat. He's going to get some nice damage on Aspara, throwing off the Ignite, not going to be able to pick up the kill, but finally a dash out of there, and he's going to be safe, even, there's not really a whole lot of a chance for them to pick up those kills.
We saw TMS wait to put the wall up, waiting to see if Big Fat LP was done dashing around, but we put the wall up, still had one more dash on the Ahri ultimate, so it's a little bit of a mistime, a little bit of a misstep. Tried to keep her behind, tried to keep her in the ult, but you know what? We still managed to save Aspar. Mission semi-accomplished, but Big Fat is here back once again. Huge chunks of damage going down on Anivia right now.
Yeah, and the Charm protecting him from that wall off. We do see Hotshot getting some great damage, but now Graves is in pursuit. But the Lux laser is not going to hit, so he is going to be able to back out of there. And in the meantime, while their attention is focused down bottom, we see CLG coming once again onto Baron. There are no wards because we do have the Oracles, but the rest of the team is coming. They, kind of have an inkling that this might be happening. We'll see whether or not they can finish it fast enough. We don't have any wards, but actually the Anivia wall does give them vision, so they just immediately retreat. They know they don't want to even defend it. It is really low, but you don't want to just go after the Baron and risk it.
You're very cornered right now. We have to dash over the wall, but there's 2 more members of Rosewill there to meet you. We dash once again. We really want to get the egg. We really want to get TMS egged for future team fights. That thing's not going to be staying up. It is a little bit of a cooldown, but while they're engaging on Big Fat, rest of CLG is going back in on Baron, so they may get this Ahri kill, but they are going to lose Baron, and they realize this now. Livingston does pop the ult, reducing vision. Or are we going to engage on anyone? No, the ult duration does end. So all that time spent chasing Ahri, CLG's like, you know what? Baron, let's go right back there.
I'm surprised they're coming back in, though. Shen going to be able to taunt over that wall, so Hotshot being the aggressor here gets some nice damage off. Like you said, they did get the Baron. I thought it maybe opened up an opportunity for Rosewill to engage, but CLG just with perfect timing, is able to disengage very easily with the Shurelya's and with the Janna ultimate, and then the flash over the wall. It seemed like they might have been trapped, but able to get out of there. So not only do they have pressure on all the lanes, and the big thing is this top lane actually is pushing.
Hotshot's caught out a little bit too far out there. We do have the slows. We have the wall. Hotshot is a little bit trapped, but the rest of CLG is here to back him up. Double Lift and St. Vicious are there just in time, and Aspara is caught a little too far out, and the Ignite will finish him off. So now we see CLG pushing up the mid tier. Not only are they pushing up to tier 3, we also have minions in top and bottom doing the same. They've prepped it, they've cleared the waves, and now we have a very strange situation for Rosewill. They have to make some very rough decisions. Who are we going to send to all 3 lanes to try and defend?
And Hotshot looks almost unstoppable right now. It's very tough to kill him. St. Vicious with the quick Q into Anivia, able to pick up that kill. So with all these members down, 2 members down, we will have at least 1 turret going down. They are pressuring the mid. Bot is also close to ready to pop. We'll see whether or not they can get any inhibitors out of this. They should be able to pick up the mid inhibitor fairly easily. Then maybe they'll back up, continue the split push. But Hotshot, it looked like, maybe it was Rosewill's advantage in that last fight. They were all pretty high health, but just chasing them down, not letting them leave so that, they can pick up that kill. We actually have an engage here. The Charm going on to Shen, some nice damage, and it's just forcing them to back while they get this second inhibitor.
There's too much damage right now on CLG. They've gotten control of this game absolutely now. Now that they have the Baron, they can just take out all the towers, they can take out all the inhibitors, and Rosewill, they can't really contest this.
They just blew through all of those inhibitors.
Yeah, that's the damage potential we have right now on CLG, and that's due to, in some cases, superior farm or more kills, more assists, and Baron buff helps a little bit too. The Livingston will not be able to go to the back line there on Double Lift, and now the rest of Rosewill will just be cleaned up at their own fountain while the minions push. Hotshot, just don't do it, man. Don't do it. Don't be like that. So we're going to see the Nexus turrets be pushed here. We still have quite a while. Rosewill, they only have 2 members. The rest are not going to be coming soon enough, and this should be it. Momentarily, we'll see the Nexus being pushed. CLG commanding game 1 in amazing traditional CLG style, and that is it. GG, game 1, going to CLG.